In crypto markets right now, Bitcoin is getting a bounce. Right now, Bitcoin is coming at $83,000. Let me share my screen with you guys. Hopefully, everyone's having a great Saturday night. It's Saturday night. Let me hold on a second. So let me get the crypto fear and greed index set up. So let's see where we're at. So right now we're still in fear at 32. We've kind of been in this area for some time right now. So if you guys are new, appreciate if you guys hit the like and subscribe button. It does help support the channel. If you guys want to join the Telegram channel or the trade group, link to join is in the description below for both. This is our shorter stream, and then our longer stream will be on Mondays, like always. But yeah, so far right now we are still in fear on the crypto fear and greed index. And that's just kind of where we've been probably for the last month, whether we've been down to what, 12 or 11, and then we've been as high as about 45. And now we're back into the 30s, low 30s, as Bitcoin did dip into around $82,000. And I did post a very quick update on TikTok about what was going on. That we were in a bear flag, and the measure move to the downside was approximately $79,800. But then I posted shortly thereafter that after looking at it again, I see an inverted head and shoulders, and because we were so oversold, I expected that we got some kind of bounce out of that to the upside, and I said that right here in my trading group at 7:50 p.m. Central Time, about 2.5 hours ago. That I was looking for a bounce to the upside, and that was around 81,800 or so. So that's kind of what's going on. That's what I saw. And the measure move is still to the upside after the inverted head and shoulders on Bitcoin, approximately 84,900 or slightly higher. And that is just kind of what I said. And that so far we have got a bounce outside of that, invert head and shoulders. 5-minute time frame right now is oversold. Can we get the bounce is the next question. The 15-minute time frame trying to make it significantly higher low around $83,000. So again, can we get a bounce now off of 83,000 will be the next question. 15-minute time frame is pretty much oversold. The 33-minute time frame, however, is still overbought, and that still doesn't look fantastic on the half hour. So we'll see what happens. I did enter a long on this idea with a take profit around 84.8 or 85K. We'll see what happens. If that doesn't pan out, so be it. The 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin also doesn't look fantastic. You can see that you're still pretty much overbought on the RSI without much of a bounce. Off the lows at 80. What was it? The official low on Bitcoin was $81,600 and change. So overall, off that low, you haven't got much of a bounce. Now, even if you look at the 2 hour time frame, Bitcoin really is still overbought with, again, a very minimal bounce. The 3 hour time frame is, again, pretty much overbought. You're getting overbought on the 3 hour without much of a bounce on the 3 hour. That's not a good. The 4 hour time frame for Bitcoin still has love, but again, the fact that the 3 hour time frame is overbought already without a significant bounce off the low is not a good sign. And then you get up to 6 hour, and that's looking pretty good overall. Actually, the 6 hour time frame is still oversold. And the 4 hour, and the 6 hour both look pretty good to me, especially the 6 hour. 8 hour looks fantastic in my opinion. The 12 hour time frame trying to get the bounce. I would say the 12 hour time frame is unconfirmed in the bounce. But so right now you do have a local low. If we go back to the 4 hour time frame, Bitcoin does have a local low at $81,600. Our next resistance to the upside is $83,900. But you just kind of need to see if the smaller time frames are going to roll over. The 15 is oversold, but is that going to be enough to significant time frame to get the bounce? Right now, you're not, I don't really see resistance for Bitcoin until you get up to 83.9. So I really do see Bitcoin at least continuing either sideways or slightly up, close to 84K, 83.9 into Sunday morning, Sunday later morning. So see what happens. I'm actually, I'm still long on Bitcoin off of what I said about 2 hours ago. We'll see what happens. And I also see on the 10-minute time frame, I know it's a decently small time frame, but the 10-minute time frame, it's not fantastic, but the 10-minute time frame for Bitcoin does look like you want to get some kind of bounce out of this falling wedge. And even though it's a smaller time frame and the 3 hour time frame is overbought, these do break up either way. 68% of the time, your measure move on the 10-minute time frame for Bitcoin out of this falling wedge is 83,639. That goes along with my idea that I don't see resistance for Bitcoin until you get close to 84K. So I am looking close for an 84K Bitcoin before maybe you get a bigger pullback for a new low possibly. So I've been looking for a minimum 84K Bitcoin into the next few hours. Right now, this measure move falling wedge is 83,600. So see what happens. I'm still long. I'm staying long. We'll see what happens. But I would say super short term, I see about at least 83.6. Probably 83.9 because that's your next resistance for Bitcoin. So I would say like in the next 2 to 4 hours, I see 83.6 to 83.9 for Bitcoin incoming, and then from there we can go from there. But that's what I would look for. Now, I would also say if Bitcoin makes a new low below 82.9, or even I would even go as far to say if Bitcoin loses 83K, then it's very likely that the move to 83.6, 83.9 is not going to happen, and then you get a further dump to the downside based on like the 1 hour to the 4 hours. So I'll say this. I see a pump coming, or a very small pump coming for Bitcoin if you hold 82K. If you don't hold 82K, it's goodbye, and you're likely going back down to 81.6. But if you can hold 83K here, I see a small move coming to the upside for Bitcoin. If you guys have requests for altcoins, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll look at them. But that's just what I see going on. So if you want to see any love in altcoins tonight or in the entire market tonight, Bitcoin must hold 83K. Now, it is the weekend, low volume. Besides trading Bitcoin, I really wouldn't be trading anything. I'm still in a swing trade on SPA on a short, but overall, I would be opening up new positions on altcoins tonight. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. That's just what I see. I mean, the market isn't great overall for altcoins, but I am in a swing trade short on SPA. But again, I didn't open that trade today, so. Bitcoin is just moving sideways between 78 and 89. It's for over 30 days now. People think too much. I don't know about that. Uh, I mean, not really. I would disagree with that because Bitcoin did put in a low at 78,000, but since 78,000, Bitcoin has not revisited those lows. So, I mean, if we, so we'll see what happens. We might not revisit 78K. Based on what I see right now, I think in the next month, it'd be pretty hard for us not to revisit 78K. But I wouldn't say we're just trading sideways because we wouldn't be. I don't know. I guess kind of. Maybe if you look at like the daily, I guess we could be, but we haven't revisited 78K, so we could be putting in a higher low. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. So that's kind of Bitcoin in a nutshell. We have to hold 83,000 right now. I am in a short on SPA on the half-hour time frame. As long as you stay above the 200-day smooth moving average on the half hour, I'm going to stay in a short. So right now, my trailing stop loss would be approximately 13.5. This chart on SPA looks terrible. It's a pretty small market cap overall, but we'll see what happens. It's just like a rounded, it's just going down. The chart looks horrible on the half hour. So I opened up a short here when you cross the 200-day smooth moving average around 15.9, and that's that. At this point for SPA, it's not even a bad idea to enter a short now, not financial advice, because even on SPA now, I was going to say it's a bad position, but I don't think it is. Like the half-hour time frame right now in SPA token is overbought, making a lower high, and you're also at new lows, which I would actually, I would wait. SPA just made a lower low while the RSI is overbought. I mean, I would just wait. It's higher risk, I would say. But this is also still a descending triangle right now for SPA token. These break down 80% of the time. So, but it'd be pretty hard. It's pretty high risk because you're kind of catching a falling knife. So, at some point, it's probably going to bounce and bounce hard. The question is, when does that happen? But right now, the next measure move out of this descending triangle for SPA for a continuation to the downside would be 8.9. You're at 10 point. You're basically at 11 right now. So again, I mean, actually, but yeah. So this short looks like it could keep printing on SPA. And that is just what I see going on. And I'm going to stay in my short. My stop loss is basically break even now. And that is my swing trade that I've been in now for 3 or 4 days. It gave me a trading group this setup, and that's just what I saw. So I forgot to say that I'm live. Hopefully it doesn't matter. I mean, I go live the same time every single week, so hopefully people know. But yeah, that's kind of what I see going on in the crypto markets. So Appreciate the likes. It does help support the channel. Thank you. So let's just is Bitcoin going back down? Well, I mean tonight, if we hold 83K, I see a bounce coming. But if you're looking at the macro time frame, like the 4 hour time frame doesn't look fantastic for Bitcoin. The 3 hour doesn't look fantastic. And no, I'm sorry, the 4 hour time frame looks good. 3 hour and less looks bad. So the 3 hour time frame right now is about to put in a lower high. So I would say the 3 hour time frame and less looks bad, except for like the 10 minute. So it doesn't look fantastic, I would say, for Bitcoin. XRP possible going to $1.70. What is XRP at right now? Thank you for the likes, by the way. So XRP going to $1.70. Let me look at the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame right now. Your low on the 4 hour time frame was $2. You had a bounce off the support at $2 or right above it. So as long as we have $2, I'd be looking for a bounce on XRP. Now your next resistance is $2.63. So you're pretty much range bound between $2 and $2.63 on XRP. So are you going to see $2 again? Well, you'd have to break the two. Sorry, are you going to break? What was it? $1.70? You'd have to break the $2 support to see that happen. If you break the $2 support, then your next support is $1.60, and then obviously then you could be seeing $1.70. If Bitcoin makes a new low below 81.6, then I would say $1.70 is pretty likely to be seen on XRP. But again, that's a pretty strong support at $2. So if Bitcoin doesn't break 81.6 and make a new low, then XRP very likely will not see that $1.70 level. But again, just like on Bitcoin, actually, XRP looks worse than Bitcoin. 3 hours is making a lower high. Now even the 4 hour time frame, unlike Bitcoin, is making a lower high. And that's not a good sign. You're about to be, and the 4 hour time frame is making a lower high below the 200-day moving average. I mean, to me, and that's saying at 233. If XRP can't crack 233, that's not good. I mean, I bet sooner or later, I bet in the next week or two, you see $1.70 on XRP, just based on how the market's going and the fact that it's now making lower highs on the 4 hour below the 200. That's not a good sign. Yeah, I would say $1.70 is pretty likely over the next week at some point. So if you want to have limit orders down there, it's pretty likely they would be hit. Now, if you go below $2, your next support, is $1.60. So if you're buying $1.70, $1.60, just DCA, it's probably not a horrible idea if you believe in XRP. But we'll see what happens. $1.70 seems likely in the next 7 to 14 days, based on how the market looks right now. Well, I've been in the market for 3 or 4 years, and I watch other YouTubers. There's one in particular I watch, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. He goes live every day, so I'll leave it at that. But anyways, yeah, I look at the markets every day, and I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years now, and that's what happens when you watch markets every day. You figure stuff out. So. Oh, I wanted to look at so this is Bookmap. This shows you where all the look at on Bitcoin. Right now on this chart, it does suggest it's kind of, there's not a lot of information. You look at this left column here, and it does show that Bitcoin has slightly more liquidity to the downside, but it's not that significant. I guess at 81.8, where you had that local low, Bitcoin also has a little liquidity, and you don't have much above us. So 81.8. Bookmap suggests that you do go and take out 81.8. If you lose 81.8, obviously you'd be putting in new lows. And then from there, you could be revisiting, honestly, probably that low from a few weeks ago at 78K on Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, Bookmap even suggests that we do go lower as well. So, again, if you take out 83K, it's not a good situation. And then you'd be looking for 81.8. And then from there, 78K support. It's just... I don't use this very often, but we could turn on the VRVP, and this again also goes based off orders. So this suggests that if you have losses a lot, now it just changed. The next most liquidity on Bitcoin is about 82.4. So we'll see what happens. That would be going back towards 81.8. I think overall, even though I want to see Bitcoin hold this low at 83K out of this 10-minute falling wedge, it looks to me like, honestly, most likely sometime tomorrow morning we are going to roll over and make new lows below 81.8. Let's see what happens, but it looks bad to me right now. So, again, that's just what I see. And if we go off based off moving averages, the 7-minute time frame is below the 200. No, it's above the 200. The 200s on the 7-minute time frame is $84,800. Is the 10-minute above it? 10-minute is not above it. So the 10-minute would be 83.2. So that would be the next stop for Bitcoin if we want to get a bounce, is you have to break 83,239. If you get above it on the 10-minute, I would be looking for the 15 to reclaim the 200 if we're bullish. And that is sitting approximately at that 83.9 resistance. And that's sitting at 83.8. So really, honestly, the smaller time frame moving averages look good to me if we can stay above these 200s. Our next target on the 10-minute would be 83,250. So, it looks good to me. Like 10-minute and under looks good to me out of this falling wedge and based on moving averages. So, we'll see what happens. But if you reclaim the 10-minute on the 200, then again, I'd be looking for the 15-minute 200 to be reclaimed at 83.8. So that's kind of what I see. I do see Bitcoin surviving out of this dump if you can hold this low 83K. So that's kind of if this then that. If we are above 83K tonight, I'm bullish. If we're below it, it's time to be out of all longs and be looking for shorts. Can you see $1.23? I mean, well, I think there's a lot of possibility. That's a long ways away. $1.23 on XRP, you'd have to lose $2. You'd have to lose $1.60, and then $1.30 is support as well. You have to lose 3 massive supports. I mean, it's possible, but that's going to take a long time to happen, in my opinion. Yeah, that would take several weeks, most likely. So, is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Not probably anytime soon. So, we'll see what happens. But I would say $1.20 on XRP, I would say you have to be a little more patient for that one. That's not going to happen in the next week. I could be wrong, but Bitcoin would have to get pretty bearish for XRP to go below $1.20. That's 3 strong weekly supports you'd have to break. The first one being at $2, $1.60, and $1.30. So to me, yeah, that's getting too far ahead of ourselves right now. So thank you for the follow time. I appreciate that. Do you know Dr. Profit on X? I'm sorry, I don't. What's the YouTuber? My YouTube channel is Crypto Andrew 333. I don't know. So, anyways. Yeah, so that's kind of what I see going on. Bitcoin, again, right now can't even hold A31. That is not really a good sign. Unfortunately, I do see, again, I said Bitcoin might roll over here. I might just move my stop loss to break even. I got into this long 828. If you can't hold A3K, it's not good. And then if you lose A3K, I'd be out of my long and very slight profits. I'm going to do that actually when I get off this live here in a few minutes. In my long, I'm going to move my stop to like 829. That way, if you lose A3K, I can't lose money in this Bitcoin long because this market looks sketchy to me. And again, based on my analysis, I believe if you lose A3K, it's over. So to have a stop at 829 below A3K would actually be pretty smart. Lock in very small profits on the trade or even break even on the trade and don't lose any money on the Bitcoin long. So Bitcoin does not look healthy to me right now. It just looks bearish. Thank you for this follow, Solana. Well, what are my thoughts on Solana? Well, I don't know. Solana actually looks bearish on the weekly or on the 3-day. If you look at the 3-day time frame, you put in a double top. The 3-day time frame, if the 2-day time frame is overbought. So to me, Solana is bearish. And this would be a pretty steep move to the downside on Solana. If it's negative, that's not very realistic. But this is a bear flag on Solana that suggests you could go back down to $40, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, I would take that with a grain of salt. Daily time frame is getting oversold. But you're below the 200 on all these key moving averages. Even on the daily, you're below the 200. On the 2-day, you're below the 200. On the 3-day for Solana, you just lost the 200 at $1.32 or $132. So there's a 4-day below the 200. I mean, Solana looks very bearish. So the next stop I see on Solana, if you're bearish, is you're going to hit the 4-day, 200-day moving average at $105. And below $105, your next real massive strong support I see at $79. That was a weekly low. If you lose $79, the next one I see is really the next very strong support would be $50, and then below that $35 on Solana. So Solana looks pretty bad to me. I gotta say, looks bad, and it's just not fantastic. Solana looks to me like it's in a bear market. Honestly, it looks bad. So I'd rather hold Solana over Ethereum, but Solana does not look like it's in a healthy position right now. Let's see what happens. You just lost the 4-hour 200 on Solana at $135. That is not a good sign either. So 3-hour time frame. Look how fast that got overbought on the RSI. That's really not good. I probably a little more upside here on the 3 and 4-hour time frame, but that's still not good. Like you took 3 candles to get overbought, 9 hours to get overbought. That's not healthy. So I would be out of my longs on Solana if I'm holding long term, not financial advice. That's just what I would be doing. This chart looks horrible. But it's very likely if you just trade patterns that you go top of the channel, bottom of the channel, top of the channel. So it's pretty likely, even though you overbought on the 3-hour, it's pretty likely you do come all the way up to about, what price would that be on Solana? About 140. That's actually not even that much higher. And then you come back down and then just chop sideways. And then if you're bearish, obviously you roll over. If you're not bearish, you're going to go up. I would say the trend is bearish right now, though. So it's likely this is kind of what happens. You go sideways in this range for a little bit longer. And then maybe in the next day or two, you dump or pump. Most likely dump, though. So with that being said, guys, if there's no other requests, I'm going to get out of here. And that's just what I see going on in the charts. Thoughts on Ondo long term? This is my last request because I do have to get out of here. My longer stream is going to be on Mondays. Ondo long term. So Ondo just lost support at $1.04. Now your next support is 60 cents on Ondo. And it looks bad. Ondo is also kind of making some kind of bear flag. And we'll see what happens, but Ondo looks like it also does want to go lower, just like Solana. All these altcoins are just look bad. That suggests you go down to 38 cents on Ondo. You'd have to break the 60-cent support as well. So that is not a good situation. I would not. It looks basically just like Solana, to be honest with you. Same bear flag, same everything, same place the bear flag. Probably need to get a small bounce here, but it looks bad. So, yeah, it doesn't look any better than Solana. Thank you guys for the likes. Thank you for the follow as well. When do you think you will come back up after this big drop? Who knows? It depends how far we go down. I take it one day at a time. So, guys, that's all I got. I'm exhausted. I'm getting over a sickness, and I'll have a pretty long live stream on Monday. But until then, just trade safe. Always use a stop loss. Remember, guys, your trend is your friend until the end. Don't try to fight the trend. It's really not worth it. Bitcoin just looks 83K. I'm probably going to be exiting this long here in a few minutes. It just looks like crap. My stop loss would be 82,950 if I can put it there before the trade's over. This market is not friendly to the bulls, and it just doesn't want to pump. So we will see what happens, but that's kind of what I see going on. I see more downside for Bitcoin if you lose 83K. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys for stopping by. I'll be back live Monday, 11 p.m. Central Time. Until then, trade safe. Have a great rest of your Saturday, I should say. And I'll see you guys in basically 2 days for our next live stream. And again, always use a stop loss. Do not try to fight the trend. It's not worth it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers and have a great rest of your night. Adios.